to push the other way. A nice behind the back from Colin McCulley. Final 5 seconds of the first. White for three, and it's good! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Inside High School Sports. My name is Alex Brasky, alongside Nate Ryder of the Batavia Daily News. Nate, we've had a brief hiatus from this show since football season came to a close, but now with the new year and things starting to kick into high gear in winter sports, we figured we'd sit down and discuss some of the teams that have gotten off to great starts and some of the great storylines that have kind of taken place and taken hold in the Glow region. Nate, one of the first and most exciting storylines of this winter season so far has been Notre Dame hockey, but more specifically Max Hutchins, who recently became the 7th player, I believe, in Notre Dame history to eclipse 100 points for his career.
Yeah, and that's saying something, too, for the amount of years and talented players that Notre Dame hockey's had. And, you know, that name Hutchins has been there since I've been here. You know, it hasn't been just him. He's had some brothers on the team. And, you know, 100 doesn't seem like much when you think about it, but in terms of high school hockey, it's a big number, and it's a huge accomplishment for him.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And in my article after Notre Dame's win over Aquinas, when Max did score that 100th point, I mentioned his brothers. And Max has been around that program almost in his entire adolescent life, watched his brothers win that sectional title with the Irish, and now he has a chance to lead Notre Dame this year to a sectional championship. And I took some time to speak with Max and Coach Mark Staley about what they think is coming up on the horizon as far as sectional hopes. But I also broke things down with Max as far as what he felt when he scored his 100th point and what it means to him joining that illustrious group at Notre Dame. Notre Dame hockey, big win over Aquinas, but the big news, Max Hutchins gets his 100th career point. Max, it's quite a milestone. Your team was scoreless after the first period, so I'm sure you were squeezing a little bit, but how gratifying is it to reach that milestone?
Obviously, it's a great achievement, but I couldn't have done it without my teammates the entire way. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Because they're the boys, it's just a fantastic time to be with them. It's just a great time.
So, you think Notre Dame's program, we've been here for 28 years now, and this is the 7th player who's hit that 100-point milestone. So, it's a big deal. I know he's going to downplay it. And we still have half a season left, and I know that's what he's focused on. But I feel blessed as a coach to have 4 of those 7 I've been able to see break the record, and to see him do it tonight on the road against a good team, against one of the best goalies in the league. It was great. Out of the guys recently that have done it, he's probably the most all-around complete player. Wins face-offs, plays in the defensive zone. And if you see it, he's pretty evenly matched goals and assists. So he doesn't do it. You know, Ryan Webster was a tremendous setup guy. He did it with a lot of assists. Other guys did it with goals. Max is very balanced. And so, you know, all-around player. He's, you know, one of the best I've seen here certainly in a long time. So.
Obviously, it felt great, but I was just more focused on actually getting up on the scoreboard and winning that game. That's kind of all I'm really here for right now.
Now, moving forward, Coach already mentioned you have higher aspirations. You've mentioned it. How much are you looking forward to getting into that postseason, kind of with some momentum and trying to make a run at that sectional title?
We have the tools to do it if we really want. I mean, if we play our game, we can't be stopped.
You spent a lot of time wearing that jersey. What's it going to feel like when you're done? I mean, how much has Notre Dame hockey meant to you?
It's been a huge part of my life. I think I'm going to miss it a lot. I don't know what I'm going to do next year without it. It's just going to be a sad time. Yeah, Nate, Max, impressive hockey player, but also an impressive individual. When you talk to him, you realize why he's the captain of that Notre Dame team. But speaking of Notre Dame, a team that you've watched a lot this year, the Notre Dame boys, picked up a huge win over rival Elba, which responded to their earlier season loss in the Batavia Lions Club tournament. But then they tripped up later on this week with a loss to Oakfield-Alabama. So the GR League, as crazy as it ever has been this year, just kind of everyone has a chance to win the title.
But what have you seen from the ND boys, and do you think they have a chance to go all the way this year?
You know, the thing with that, I mean, they obviously have the talent on the team. They're not overly deep. And as good as they played against Elba was as bad as they played against Oakfield. And that's kind of some of what Oakfield does, because Oakfield played very well, and Notre Dame always seems to struggle with that. You know, but between Gabe McDonald and Colin McCulley and Cody Henry and Mark Sanders, you know, they have enough talent on that team to get it done. It's just sometimes it just hasn't been working. And it has been the prototypical up and down season for them. They've had some good wins and some not so good losses.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and there's no doubt that this loss to Oakfield-Alabama, although Oakfield-Alabama is a talented team, if you've been looking at my power rankings, they're up near the top. In the latest edition, there might be some movement because there has been some interesting finishes. But anyway, Oakfield-Alabama, not a bad team by any means, but Notre Dame, a team with sectional title hopes. I believe they were looking to kind of use that Elba game as a springboard, and I'm sure they're disappointed that they took a step back against Oakfield.
Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, you could tell just by their body language last night. I mean, at one point in the third quarter, I think they were down 17. They were like a deer in headlights, you know, and it was completely different than 2 nights before when they had everything rolling against Elba. But like I said, that's kind of what Oakfield does to you.
Yep.
You know, they're and Notre Dame's kind of it's the perfect poison the way. You know, they try to play a big man who's, you know, 6'7", 325 pounds. He can't
Shapansky.
Yes, and he can't keep up with Oakfield's frenetic, crazy pace that they play with. And once they get you into that, you know, and you're making turnovers left and right, and you're missing shots, and they don't stop, I mean, it's over. And, you know, Oakfield had struggled a little bit. I think they lost 3 or 4 games since a 3-0 start, and you know, last night I think they really started to turn it around. They figured it out, and they got huge games from Wiedrich and Burdick, and you know that's a talented team. But Notre Dame has to be disappointed with that loss.
And on the other side of the coin, Oakfield has to be mighty excited. But before we get to Oakfield and we dig a little deeper on their end, here's a little bit of what Gabe McDonald, Cody Henry, and head coach Mike Rapone had to say after the Irish big win over Elba earlier this week.
Post-game here with Notre Dame after beating Elba in double overtime with senior Gabe McDonald, Coach Mike Rapone, sophomore Cody Henry. Coach, second time playing these guys in a little over a week, and you know this is one of the best high school basketball games you could see. What can you say about your guys?
Well, I'm proud of the effort that they gave. They never gave up. They played hard. They played through some adversity in the fourth quarter and hung in there, got a late basket in this first overtime to seal it, and the defense, the whole game was outstanding. We were able to play zone, and we were so active. To me, it's a tribute to the guys because it was all about effort. It's a great thing to have. It's a great tool to have that, you know, you can count on people, and you got people that can play off the bench. You know, one of the big things was Cody going to the point in the overtimes. Mm-hmm. He's a great passer. People don't see that about him sometimes, but he's got great court sense. He sees the court really well, and he made a couple of real nice passes inside that got us easy baskets.
I mean, coming into the season, Phil was a big role. Stepping into a varsity role, I've never taken a year off. It was a tough experience for me, but I've adapted well to it.
And that goes to the versatility. You know, Gabe plays inside, Gabe plays outside.
I thought it was exciting. I think it's a fun game to play. You never want to play a game that's not close, and you know, some people do, but I like being competitive. You know, having to put forth my best effort and all that stuff.
These are the ones you're going to remember. You know, these guys, they do whatever they have to do, and that's why I really feel myself honored to be able to coach these kids.
Shows our determination. Shows what we have in us. I think we have a shot at going farther than what we did last year.
All right, and as we said, the Oakfield-Alabama boys, as big as Notre Dame's win was over Elba, I think this one might have even been bigger for Oakfield-Alabama because, like you said, they had lost 3 out of 4, I believe you said, and 1 to Byron-Bergen, who, although they're an up-and-coming team, Oakfield, I think, had high hopes this year, and losing 3 out of 4, that must have been concerning for Oakfield.
You know, and like I said, they started 3-0, and that one win was a 1-point win over Pembroke. So they had not been playing their caliber of basketball, I don't think, the last week, 10 days or so. But, you know, both, you know, Coach Ryan Steller and and Joey Burdick and Evan Weidrich, what's his first
Travis
Weidrich. I couldn't remember his first name.
We're talking about so many kids here.
So many kids, and they all kind of said that they really think that this is going to be the game that gets them back on track. And after, the first quarter was kind of close yesterday, and after that, they took control of that game, and they were the better team.
And as Nate said, Joey Burdick made a point to say that this game he thinks is going to be the turning point of their season, kind of wake them up and get them going on what they hope is a sectional run.
All right, we're here with Oakfield's Joey Burdick, Travis Weidrich, and Coach Ryan Steller after a big win over Notre Dame. Coach, they're coming off a huge win against Elba. How were you able to come in here tonight in a tough environment and dominate them the way you were?
Our message was clear and simple. We had a tough one against a really talented Bergen team. And, we did some soul searching yesterday as a team, and our goal was one quarter at a time. So after the first quarter, we cleared it and we went forward, and they bought in, and the big message was stick together, and they stuck together. So
intensity all game. We pick each other up. A couple bad plays, no worries. Everybody's together. They did all around. Notre Dame's a tough team, so it was a good win.
I think this is a turnaround for our team. Came in slow last game, but we knew we had to pick it up this game. The coach said we had soul searching during practice the other day, and I think that really got us, and we knew we had to come and get this win to turn it around.
it gives us confidence going forward. We've been in some tough games, and we didn't always come out on top, so it gives us that confidence, but really it's one game, and we got to use it to go forward. It means nothing if we don't come out in the next game ready to play.
All right, now Nate, taking a step outside of the GR League quickly, the Batavia boys. Although they suffered a disappointing loss at the hands of Section 6 opponent CSAT, CSAT's a team that's been up and down, but they do have a few big wins other than Batavia, so disappointing, but not necessarily a bad loss. But they've been mighty good otherwise. They beat Greece Athena, they beat Greece Odyssey, a defending sectional champion. This Batavia team really seems to have what it takes to really be considered a contender in Class B1.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see them in person for the first time tonight, Friday night. I've watched them on TV, and they don't have one superstar. Coach Bransky always seems to have like that one go-to player. You think, Jalen Smith or Jeff Redband or any of those guys, or Ryan Hogan or some of these, pick them. They don't have this kind of one guy. They kind of revolve around Giliberto and the White Twins, and they play their traditional defense, and they get after it. And you never count a Buddy Bransky coach team out, and this one seems to be gelling earlier than a lot of other ones have.
Yeah, and you hit it right in the head. I spoke with Coach the other day, and he had a lot to say in terms of this team is a true team. They play together, they play well together, and they all root for each other. And I think that's why you're seeing them gel so early. They played a ton in the offseason, and they all love to see each other succeed, including the two twins, as you mentioned, Camden, Caden White. They've been a huge part of their early success. So here's a quick interview with Camden and Caden, as well as Coach Bransky, talking about the team's early success, as well as the dynamic between the two twins.
Batavia boys basketball off to a solid start to the season. Head coach Buddy Bransky. Coach, what's led to your hot start? You're coming off a loss. You rebounded tonight with a win. What's been the key to your hot start to the season?
Well, one thing is I think we're a real team. They care about each other. They play well together. They share the ball. Those types of things are important. And, we've got a nice inside-outside punch right here with the two twins.
You've coached brothers before, twins before, too. What do you see from these two?
They have a nice connection there. And, if Caden's on fire, Cam will look to go inside out. And he's doing a real good job lately of, when he doesn't have the shot out there to look to feed it inside to the big boy inside.
We lost a couple big players last year. Someone had to step up and lead the team. So a lot of one-on-one games in the backyard. So practice a lot with each other. So.
White with a strong finish.
It's nice. He's got the inside game, I have the outside game.
Yes, sir.
If we're both on, no one can really stop us.
In the short corner, Grammatical up top, over to White. That's a three-pointer. Big answer for Caden White.
Final 5 seconds of the first. White for three, and it's good!
Now, moving forward into sectionals, what do you guys have to focus on, Coach, in order to kind of keep your guys' momentum that you gained from this game?
Well, I think if it asked these guys, I would hope they would say defense and toughness.
For sure.
And toughness. We have to play a little bit tougher than we're playing right now.
All right, and speaking of Batavia basketball, you already mentioned one Red Band, Jeff Red Band, another Batavia High graduate who played basketball at Batavia, Tom Red Band, has taken his basketball acumen and really translated it into major success at Elba. You spoke with him and his team recently, and a couple of things you spoke with him about is he took over for Tom Nowak, the previous coach at Elba, the hugely successful coach, state championships, the whole deal. But he hasn't missed a beat. His team hasn't missed a beat. They've carried that success on. And what do you think has been the key, and what did he say has been the key to carrying that success on after such a successful era before he came?
You know, he's a humble guy. First he said he really wasn't nervous about taking over. He wasn't, he didn't think he had to live up to expectations, but he also said it isn't so much him, it's building it from the ground up. And it's true. You watch, I remember some of the girls now that were in the gym, back when Tom first started, and now they're here as sophomores and juniors. And in the same line, there were 3 former Elba players in the gym the other night when they played Notre Dame. It's a full family, and as I was talking to Tom, in come the 5th and 6th graders to practice, and he sticks around, and it's a whole culture there, because you got to remember, in winter, that's all they have in Elba is basketball, and he has done more than a remarkable job filling shoes that you wouldn't think could get filled by. I think Nowak was the second winningest girls coach when he retired. 8 or 9 sectional titles. You mentioned the state title, and now Red Band has 3 straight sectional titles. And after the other night's win over Notre Dame, they should be well on their way to at least getting to the final and making a run at a 4th. And he's got another year with these girls too. So what he's done has just been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Elba, the number 1 team in the state, according to the New York State Sports Writers Association. I think that's the biggest accomplishment that they've achieved so far during this run. They've done it within the section. We all know about that success, but they have yet to kind of receive that acclaim from outside of the section. And now they're starting to receive that. And I think that's only going to kickstart things. They've got a couple of their girls back, Maddie Mulig, Dakota Brinkman, injured at the beginning of the season, now healthy. So in our opinion, I think we both see them as a state title contender. And if you ask them, they're right there with us.
Okay, we're here with Elba's Lauren Engel and Taylor Augello. Lauren, you've been a part of this program for a long time. What does it mean to be a part of Elba girls basketball?
It's great. I love being a part of this team. We're all so close. We all stick together. We really work as a team. It's not one person. we work as a team together.
Mm-hmm. I used to sit right over here with all of our families together, and I watched the team that won states, and like seeing them play really inspired me to shoot for the stars, honestly. And that banner up there, I look up at that every practice and think this better be us this year. I want that. I think about it now and I'm like, wow, I'm them now. Because when I was little, I was like, oh my God, these girls are so big. They're so good. I don't know, can I ever be this good? And now we're here and we're doing it, and it's so amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. We had three of my players here last night, including, you said, Mackenzie Bizon and Marcy, our assistant. She also played as well. But we had Carly Bogue and Jenna Pedro and Emily Reynolds, who were 3 of my players, and they all said that they would kill to be out there again.
It's so cool. I love coming out and having a home game, especially last night. It was so amazing. My last home game. It was great. And seeing everyone.
The energy in the gym, you can just feel it. And I feel like we radiate off of it.
Oh yeah.
We definitely play up to our potential. We do when there isn't people here, but it really just inspires us, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
And hypes us up.
Is there any pressure on you guys, to live up to, the history of Elba girls basketball?
I wouldn't say pressure.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, no.
It's like, it's not like an expectation. It's just like everyone's really rooting for us.
Mhm.
And it's really like I can feel like the love and
We all
the
stick
caring.
together.
Yeah,
Our community is so close.
It's so close. It's amazing. I mean, we definitely have higher expectations for ourselves, though.
Mhm.
Like, we constantly have goals to get past where we were last year.
New
So we work
goals.
harder.
Yeah, new goals.
Definitely.
You know, I really tried to take the pressure off of them.
Mhm.
I can imagine they feel some internally. I hope it's not too much. I think that they put an adequate amount of effort and time into it so they can be proud of what they do.
Mhm.
I've always thought it's too much, it's too high of expectations to say, you know, hey, if we don't win sectionals, it's a bust, or we don't win states, it's a bust.
Mhm.
I don't think that's fair to the players. Well, I certainly respect the fact that a program can go down pretty quick.
Mhm.
You have to stay on top of it. So you know, and we're not above that here either. I think we just try to continue to work and get athletes bought in and help them reach their goals.
You know, and just one last one, either one of you can answer it. One thing I've noticed with Elba over the years, especially with Coach Redband, is it's a very close-knit team. You guys really do get along, and, you know, is that what it's like for you guys?
Yeah, we're all best friends, honestly. Like, when I'm like bored, I text them. I'm like, "What are you guys doing? Want to go to Tully's?" Like, like we all hang out together. It's amazing. Like, it's like a family.
Yeah, we
I
really
love
are a
it.
family. The whole community is a family.
And some of those responses are just great to hear. I mean, from Taylor Augello talking about when she was a youngster watching some of the older players, and now she feels like one of them. I mean, that's what high school sports are all about, especially in a small town, in a family-based community. That's exactly what it's all about. And the tradition that Elba's built, I mean, back in the day, GR girls basketball wasn't all it's cracked up to be now. It used to be Elba and maybe a little bit of Notre Dame here and there. But now it's Elba, it's Notre Dame, it's Oakfield, it's Pembroke, it's all over, Wheatland Chile. I mean, how much do you think Elba has done for kind of just setting the GR girls basketball to where it is today? And how strong do you view GR girls basketball as it stands right now?
I mean, especially this season, if you want to watch good girls basketball in high school, watch a GR game, because you mentioned those teams. You didn't mention Byron-Bergen, who is off to an incredible start.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you got to give Elba credit. I mean, some credit for, you know, these other teams are, you know, probably getting sick of watching the smallest school in GR, you know, beat up on them year after year after year, and some of these programs start to change. You've seen, you know, Pembroke really come on of late. You know, Notre Dame's always there and in the mix, but unfortunately they get shuffled up and down in classes. But, you know, Oakfield's been there with Coach Schlagenoff, but they've seemed to take it to another level. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to Tom Nowak and Tom Redband and what they've done and made such a dominating program out of such a small community.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we've seen it before in this Glow region. It's such a tight region. Everyone kind of knows everybody. And one little thing like that, just one team, one girls basketball team, can really catch fire within the community and really give other girls at other schools high hopes of achieving the same thing. So there's no doubt the role that Elba girls basketball has played in kind of the rise of the GR League is definitely apparent. But moving on, another GR League school, we just mentioned them, Byron-Bergen, recently combined swim teams with Le Roy. And the girls at Byron-Bergen Le Roy are out to an incredible start. I spoke with a few of them along with head coach Sarah Stockwell earlier this week, and they're really excited of what's to come with that program. I mean, the numbers that they have from the merger are incredible, according to them, and they're really excited for what's to come. And you've seen mergers in other sports kind of inject life. We saw it with Kalmar Byron-Bergen football, and Brady Fix, one of the swimmers, spoke about that and how that's been kind of related to his experience on swimming. But what do you think a merger can do for a program, and what do you think it's doing for Byron-Bergen Le Roy swimming?
Well, yeah, you said it. You talk about mergers all the time. You talk about them in football or wrestling, but I honestly, I think swimming is one of the sports that really that merger needs to happen. You've seen it with Notre Dame. They merged with Batavia, and you know some of these teams that haven't merged, you got Oakfield merging with Elba, and, and they have a good program. And now Byron-Bergen and Le Roy have built up this program, and the Batavia Notre Dame boys are one of the best around.
Yep.
And you see some, and not to knock some of these other schools, but you see schools like Pembroke and Alexander falling behind, just not because of talent, but because of sheer numbers,
Yes.
and unable to win races and get seconds and thirds.
Yep.
And I understand, a lot of swimming is individual, and you build that individual, and they all have these great talents that they do in their individual events. But you're right, you get a merge team, there's your chance for a sectional title. You don't have that when you only have 7 or 8 kids on the team.
And I understand the tradition aspect of it. I mean, you've been your own team, and if you're a longtime coach, you really don't want to let go of that. I mean, it's a sense of pride at your school and all that. But like you said, when it comes down to it, when other teams are doing it, you hate to say it, if you can't beat them, sometimes you have to join them. And Byron-Bergen Le Roy has joined them, and they're experiencing great success.
Just got done with an intense match with Pembroke. Peyton, you girls have really gotten off to a nice start, 4-2, I believe. What's been the key to your girls' early success in your mind?
I think a lot of us have tried really hard this season and worked really hard in practice, and the numbers, we have a lot more girls this year, so it's really good.
It's really nice to have the numbers this year. This last year we had the talent, but a lot of the times it was a problem. It came down to numbers. So this year we have the talent, the numbers, the depth in the team, and a lot of sportsmanship and a lot of good encouragement with the team. So it's really nice.
It works as like a support system, so that even if you don't swim your best race, you know that you've got the team there for you, and either way you're going to come out on top. Well, the 3 of them are leaders. Like if I need somebody to do something, I go to them. And they lead by example, they lead by just their performance in the pool as well. I mean, it's a coincidence that they work so hard. It's not a coincidence that they work so hard, and that they're all leaders, and that they're all winning a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool that you get to meet new people and stuff like that, make new friends, great teammates, great people. It's just great to see 2 schools combined. Over the last couple of years, our coaching has grew a lot. We've gotten better coaches every single year, and we're just working harder in practice every single day. Especially this past couple of weeks, we're coming out here, we're grinding, we're just getting it done.
Well, I mean, he comes from a swimming family. It's in his genes. His brother's coming up right behind him. He's always there on time, working hard, doing the best he can. He's always trying to just do better every day. And that's why he's a captain, and that's why I'm excited to see where he goes as he gets older.
It really comes down to when you think you've pushed yourself hard enough, you just got to keep on pushing, because there's always something left inside of you, and that little bit can be enough to win a championship.
We can really improve on finishing and just working as hard as we can, as Rory said. Everyone has a finish at the end. They show up every day, they always come in on time, get in fast, work hard, and they don't need somebody to race. They always want to race themselves. They want to get their best time every time, and that's what really drives them, I think. It's really a blessing to have both schools. A lot of schools don't have enough kids. I mean, we have 36 kids on this team, which is huge for swimming. And having the Le Roy kids, it's like they have a whole other family. I mean, the girls bring their friends to the dances at Byron-Bergen and stuff, so that's cool. It's a really cohesive team for 2 schools. It's just those kids it's just a great bunch of kids, really.
Nate, that just about does it for our latest and most jam-packed episode of Inside High School Sports to date. 6 teams, all experiencing great success in the early going in the winter season. I really can't wait to see what's to come for this group and the others that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to what's going to shake out with GR boys basketball, because you look at that and it's wide open. I mean, it couldn't be more wide open than, anything that you can see.
It's like the Grand Canyon.
It is, because, even a team like Lindenville, who's a talented team, was only up on Holly last night by I think 7 after 3 quarters. So.
And Elba only beats Attica by 8.
Yes, and Attica, speaking of, I think is going to be one of the tougher teams come the end of the season. They're young, they're inexperienced, but they'll get there. They're just not there yet. And Bichelli's been hurt, but you got Elba, you got Notre Dame. Pembroke's always scary, even though they're a little bit down this year. They're always scary with what they can do. You mentioned Bergen, who's been on fire.
Yeah, Coach Noeth has done a great job since taking over that program. Really has led it back to prominence since the days of Brandon Burke there.
Yeah, this is the best season they've had in a number of years. We mentioned Oakfield. It goes on down the line. There's all these teams that could just beat up on each other, and I think it's all going to help them come postseason.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And in the other sports, you got Notre Dame hockey looking at a championship run, and you have the Genesee Ice Devils who are having a season that they haven't had in quite some time. Stringing wins together under head coach John Kirkwood. So it's really exciting stuff going on in the Glow region, and we expect it only to get more exciting as the season goes on. So for Nate Ryder, my name is Alex Brasky for the Batavia Daily News, signing off of this episode of Inside High School Sports, and we'll see you next week.